My heart is a beat, beat, beating inside my chest. Until I get your loving, I won't get no rest. No matter what you say or do, what kind of hell you gonna put me through, I'm gonna walk.
This is VVtv and I'm Von Vonsky. Today we've got a really special episode for you. I'm going to catch up with Miss Tami Neilson, a Canadian chanteuse who has taken the New Zealand music scene by storm. Now her sound has been described as rockabilly, straight out of the golden era of country. She's inside the studio, so let's go inside and see if we can get her to dish some dirt. Hi Tami, it's so good to be here with you. I'm really excited about interviewing you. Now I know that you've grown up in a musical family. You've toured North America. Tell us how that was growing up.
Well, I guess for me it was a normal way of life. Looking back on it as an adult and seeing what other people's childhoods were like, I realized it wasn't so normal. But growing up from the age of, I guess I was about 12 when we hit the road full-time in our 40-foot motorhome. It was my parents, my two brothers, and I. And we toured full-time for 10 years on the road as a family. And that's how I grew up. I grew up all over Canada and the States.
Now, I know you know the Cash family. You have performed on stage with the man himself, Mr. Johnny Cash, and you've also recorded a duet with his sister, Joanne Cash. How did this relationship develop?
Oh, well, when we opened for Johnny Cash, it was at a festival in Canada when I was only, I must have been about 15 or 16. His sister Joanne and her husband Harry actually run a radio program that's broadcast on WSM, which is the home of the Grand Ole Opry. But on Sunday mornings, Harry is a rompin' stompin' preacher man, and so they do a program called Cowboy Church, and it's literally all gospel, like all old-time gospel and country songs. And there's probably about 5 minutes of preaching at the end. That was my idea of church.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's how we met. We were performing on that show as a family, doing some gospel numbers, and formed our friendship with Joanne and Harry at that time.
You decided to follow your heart and move to New Zealand. Was this a difficult decision to make?
It was. On one hand, it wasn't, because I was following my heart to my lovely Kiwi man that I married. It was a big decision because not only were they my family, they were also my career as well. So it was pretty daunting to come to a new country and perform as a solo artist for the first time. I'd never performed outside of that little safe family nest.
You've won numerous music awards. You've won TOE Awards for the Best Country Album, as well as New Zealand Music Awards for the Best Female Album. How does that feel?
I guess the number one thing was feeling really accepted and kind of taken in by the New Zealand public and my fans here. It was kind of a really special moment, realizing also that I could achieve these things on my own as a solo artist, which was quite daunting at first, but was doable. And who knew? Who knew I could do it all by myself?
You have a new album coming out, which is going to be launched at the Very Vintage Day Out on the 5th of April, which is very exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, well, I'm actually really, really excited about this album and to be associated with the Very Vintage Day Out, of whom I'm a huge fan and follower of VVtv, madam, yourself especially. But yeah, it's really exciting because this album is really taking me kind of in a new direction. It's the first time I've recorded an album in New Zealand. All my other albums were recorded in Canada and produced by my brother Jay, and with all my family performing on it with me. And so this was the first time I actually got to record in New Zealand, use New Zealand musicians and the band that I normally play with. And it was produced by Ben Edwards at down in Littleton Records, along with the fantastic Delaney Davidson. So he's an amazing artist in his own right. We really wanted to capture kind of that feeling in the 50s and 60s where they used to just, they'd have a morning to record and a whole album. They'd be like, right, we need to get this to the presses. And so we wanted everything to be as live off the floor as we possibly could. And so it was basically all the musicians and myself all doing one take in one room. So it ended up really being this great energy and just capturing things that you wouldn't normally capture if you were all kind of recording tracks separately and punching in, you know, all little, fixing little mistakes here and there, making it all smooth and perfect and shiny, you know. We like it to be a little rough around the edges and a little rocket.
So how can people find out some more about you and listen to your music?
Just the regular means of stalking. On the internet, I'm at TamiNeilson.com. Ben and White, as well as Facebook, Twitter, all of those social media outlets. So make sure to get in touch, and I will stalk you back.
You'll also be able to catch Tami Neilson performing tracks off her new album at the after party for Very Vintage Day Out as well. So make sure you check out the page in the days coming and find out what packages you can get to make sure you're there too. So thanks so much for being here with me today, Tami. I've absolutely loved it. As I said, I'm now a dedicated fan. I'll be following you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what your future holds here.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk. Yeah, I'm gonna walk back to your arms.
Subscribe to our channel.
She puts out every Wednesday.